Ethan stared at the bathroom sink. The small gray fingers slowly pushed themselves out of the drain. Water spilled onto the floor. The whisper came again. "Hello, Ethan." Ethan stepped backward. His heart pounded so loudly that he could hear it in his ears. "This can't be real," he muttered. The fingers slid back into the drain. For a moment everything became quiet again. Ethan rushed forward and turned the faucet off completely. Then he stepped away from the sink and grabbed a towel to wipe the water from the floor. "Just stress," he whispered. "Just imagination." But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. Very wrong. The recording that shouldn't exist. Ethan sat at his computer and continued analyzing the audio files. Most of them contained strange distorted sounds. But one file caught his attention. It was labeled automatically by his recording device. Audio log, 2:13 a.m. Ethan frowned. That's strange. At 2:13 a.m., he had already left the lake. Yet the recorder had continued capturing sound. He clicked the file. Static filled his headphones. Then slowly, a conversation appeared. Two voices. One was clearly Ethan's voice. But the second voice was something else. "You shouldn't have followed me," Ethan's voice said. The other voice responded. "We follow everyone." Ethan's stomach dropped. This isn't possible. He leaned closer to the screen. The conversation continued. "You can't leave the lake," Ethan's voice said again. The other voice laughed softly. "The lake is only the door." Ethan removed the headphones immediately. "What door?" His eyes slowly moved toward the bathroom. The sink was silent again. But a faint sound came from the pipes inside the wall. Drip. 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 The message in the static. Ethan forced himself to listen to the audio again. This time he noticed something hidden under the conversation. Another voice. Very quiet. Almost impossible to hear. He adjusted the audio filters. The hidden voice became clearer. "Ethan, listen." It was the voice of the other Ethan from the lake. "If they reached you, don't trust the water." Ethan froze. Don't trust the water. His eyes moved slowly toward the kitchen sink. Then the bathroom sink. Then the glass of water sitting beside his computer. He pushed the glass away immediately. His breathing became faster. "What does that mean?" The recording continued. "They move through pipes, lakes, rivers, anywhere water travels." Ethan's heart raced. They followed the water system. The whisper in the recording became urgent. "You must stop them before they find more people." The audio suddenly cut into loud static. Then the file ended. Night again. Hours passed. Ethan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he imagined something crawling through the pipes. Finally around 2 a.m., he heard it again. The dripping. Drip. 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 But this time, the sound came from everywhere. Kitchen. Bathroom. Walls. Even the ceiling. Ethan slowly stood up. His apartment felt colder. Then the bathroom faucet suddenly turned on by itself. Water poured into the sink. Ethan ran toward it. No. He tried to shut it off. But the handle wouldn't move. The water kept running. Then the drain began bubbling. The same gray fingers pushed out again. But this time, there were more. Many more. Hands crawled from the sink. Small twisted arms pulled themselves out of the drain. Their hollow eyes stared at Ethan. "We found you." The whisper echoed from every pipe in the apartment. Ethan grabbed a metal wrench from the toolbox under the sink. He smashed the pipe. Water exploded everywhere. The creatures shrieked. Their bodies melted into the flowing water and disappeared back into the pipes. Ethan stumbled backward, breathing heavily. They travel through water. He remembered the warning. Don't trust the water. The plan. Ethan realized something terrifying. If those creatures could move through pipes, they could reach any city, any house, anyone. He opened the audio recording software again. What stopped them at the lake? He replayed the conversation between him and the other Ethan. Then he heard something important. They can't stay away from the lake long. The other Ethan had said that. Ethan thought carefully. Maybe they need a large water source. A lake. Or river. Or reservoir. Then Ethan had an idea. If they came through the water system, they can go back the same way. The return to Dead Pine Lake. 2 days later, Ethan drove back to Greyhaven. The old gas station owner looked shocked. You came back. Ethan nodded. I need to finish something. The old man stared at him. You heard them, didn't you? Ethan didn't answer. Instead he drove straight toward Dead Pine Lake again. Night had already fallen when he arrived. The lake looked darker than before. The water barely moved. Ethan set up his recording equipment once again. But this time he added something new. Large speakers. Powerful enough to broadcast sound across the entire lake. He connected them to the recording of his own voice. The warning message. Don't come closer. Ethan whispered, if they copy voices, maybe they'll follow one. The trap. Midnight arrived again. The speakers suddenly turned on. Ethan's recorded voice echoed across the lake. Ethan Brooks, come closer. The water began moving immediately. Ripples spread across the lake. Then the surface exploded. Dozens of gray creatures crawled toward the shore. They followed the sound. Exactly as Ethan expected. The creatures reached the speakers. Their twisted heads tilted as they listened. Ethan activated the final recording. The hidden message from the other Ethan. This lake is your prison. The speakers blasted the sound across the water. Then Ethan threw a powerful electric generator into the lake. A surge of electricity exploded across the water surface. The creatures shrieked violently. The lake glowed bright blue. Then suddenly, silence. The water became still again. Ethan collapsed onto the ground, breathing heavily. It's over. The final recording. Months later, Ethan released a documentary about Dead Pine Lake. But he removed the real recordings. No one would believe them anyway. He locked the original audio files inside a secure hard drive. Hidden. Forgotten. But one night, while editing a new project, his computer speakers suddenly turned on. Without touching anything. And a familiar voice whispered. Softly. From inside the audio system. You missed one. Water slowly began dripping from the ceiling. Drip. 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 Ethan looked up in horror. And the screen recording software automatically started a new file. Audio log, 2:13 a.m.